If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. So I was a high school teacher, and one of the things that I hated was when my other counterparts, the other teachers that I taught with, would get in front of the class and say, "Be quiet," So I do my best not to do that, particularly when I'm working with adults, because we know how to act and behave, right? Which is why in my job in HR at Anoka County, I always have people in my office because they already know how to behave. They're just checking in with me to make sure that they are getting what they need. So my name is Koen, and I am the cultural coordinator at Anoka County, which makes me sound like Julie McCoy from The Love Boat. And I probably have about 4 years before I have to stop telling that joke, because most people won't know who Julie McCoy is, and they politely laugh, And you can tell the ones that don't know, right? Like that was funny because other people who are more, seasoned know who Julie McCoy is. And look, and she's denying it. She's like, I don't even know who that is. No, you're in the club too. No. Julie McCoy was the cruise director for a television show known as The Love Boat. Soon we'll be taking another run. The Love Boat, full of excitement for everyone. Anybody remember that? Okay. Yeah. And it was such a special treat to watch an episode of The Love Boat. Although my parents said that sometimes they got crass. That's what my parents would say. Like, oh, that is so crass. If I was living in my parents' household today, they would be so totally embarrassed. They would be, purple and pink all the time because the stuff that I see on TV now makes me gasp. I'm like, oh. As a teacher, we'd often have dances, and I'm not a prude by any sense. Like I can get down with the get down. I'm cool with the kids. But when I was in high school, we did this dance called doing the butt, right? Yeah. And so my parents were just appalled by that, right? Because we were basically, bumping each other, like, hey, sex, all that stuff. But now kids are just crazy because they're like, dry humping on the dance floor, and they're backing it up and like, hey, how are you? It's just way too much. But we have
no pun intended.
What's that?
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
You said but.
Oh, but. Yes. You are quick. I need about 3 more cups of coffee before I can catch up with you. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you some of the stuff that I learned as a high school teacher, working with youth, as well as being a youth myself and remembering how adults worked with me or didn't work with me. What they thought was important, oftentimes, I did not think was important, and it was really weird to flip the whole script and become an educator. So I'll just share some stuff with you that I learned. So. Before we get to that stuff, I want to show a video, and the video is very powerful. It's very inspiring to me, and it is from. So, how many people know who T-Pain is? Who is You know who T-Pain is? Okay. So, for those of you who did not raise your hand, T-Pain is a hip hop / R&B type artist kind of thing. And I find it interesting. Again, I've lived long enough to see, cycles of things come around. And so he uses this computer animated voice to quote unquote sing. And so the kids think this is like a new thing, but that's nothing but old Zapp and Roger. More bounce to the So I'm going to show this, and so the sound may not necessarily be as audible as folks are used to, but I want you to kind of listen for the words, as well as the fact that I have put subscript or subtitles on there so people can read along if the sound is distracting. All right? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am, I can. So here we go.
Mr. Koen, can we move this one too?
Yeah, I can move that one as well. That was pretty. I feel all important now.
Who's that? Is my dad here?
Great. I apologize for the delay. But we will be skipping that video, is what we will be doing. So what I'd like for you to do, if you could, is take out a piece of paper, and you can use the back of something that you already have printed, and we're going to talk about cultural competence. Oh, no. It's not on this. So on that piece of paper, what I'd like for you to do is to draw 5 circles that are big enough to put information inside of. All right? So probably about 1 inch in diameter, 5 circles to put information inside of.
Separate?
However, 5 circles, however you want to draw them, is up to you. So we're going to talk about this concept of cultural competence. And so first of all, I do want to apologize. T-Pain, we won't be showing that video because I wasn't able to boot it up quick enough. And he actually doesn't sing, real hip-hop. Real hip-hop is not a part of a manufactured system. It comes from the heart, and it's what people do on the streets and in small little venues and all that kind of stuff. So, so I did want to say, do that shout out to all my hip hoppers, if there's any out here. And so, yes, ma'am.
I just wondered, what was the content lyrically what was the significance that you wanted us to get?
Yeah, so the significance, and I'll just tell the story. The significance was, it was a video of Dr. Martin Luther King. And he was he was delivering his last speech, which was what? Okay, so here's a problem, right? We don't know what his last speech is, many of us, and I'm saying that as a collective, right? So please raise your hand if you believe in justice, that you think justice is important. Please raise your hand. Okay, cool. Please raise your hand if you think equity is important. Having equal access to goods, jobs, services, and money. Okay, cool. Please name for me 3 of Dr. Martin Luther King's most famous speeches. I Have a Dream. Did he speak that? Okay, so here we go. Problem. Our enemies to justice, our enemies to equity, they know what they're talking about. What kind of arguments do you typically hear around people who are fighting against equity and injustice? What kind of arguments?
They'll take away from me.
They're taking stuff away from me. What else?
Too much money.
Do what you want to do?
No, too much money.
Oh, too much money about what?
It's too much money to spend for people.
We're spending too much money on people,
On
right?
services.
How do we combat those people who say, you're taking this away from me? We're giving this to those immigrants. Those immigrants get tax relief for an indefinite period of time. What do we say to them when they create this smokescreen of stuff? What do we say to them?
Stop watching Fox TV.
Stop watching Fox TV, okay?
Yeah.
What else do we say to them?
We're not coming from a level playing field.
We're not coming from a level playing field, okay? Part of what happens to folks like us is that we become defensive in the face of that stuff because those people don't necessarily come with logic. They come with a lot of emotion, they come with a lot of anger, and they come with a lot of force in our engagement. One of the things as practitioners, as people who are fighting for justice, we have to come ready to battle with swords. We need to come ready to battle with, our ninja sticks. I was a teenage Ninja Turtle fan, right? So we have to come to battle with some weapons. And all too often, we haven't been given the weapons that are right in front of us, okay? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and I mean humanity are created equal. What does that come from? It is the Declaration of Independence. As freedom fighters, that is a tool that we have to use because the enemies of justice and injustice will use. They'll say, it's the Constitution, it's the Constitution, it's the Constitution. I would ask us, how many of us have read the Constitution? No, you don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer, but I want you to think about that, right? So the Constitution of the United States gives us the power and the ability to even have this conversation about cultural competence. What event in 1964 had a profound impact on American civil society? 1964. The signing of the Civil Rights Act, right? What happened in 1990 that has a profound impact on how people access the workplace? The Americans with Disability Act, right? If you want to be a true warrior and not just give lip service to this concept of cultural competence or this concept of equality, you need to start putting some quills in your pack, right? So you know what you're talking about. And then when those idiots of injustice start talking, you can dismantle them and just, right? Anybody seen that movie, Hungry?
Hungry Games.
Okay, the Hungry Activities, right? The Hunger Games, right? I got a whole workshop on that because I just loved it. I was crying in the movie. V for Vendetta is another movie where I just wept. I was just like, yes, the people can stand up, right? So let's get going because I don't want to take too much time for my political rhetoric. But it is important that as practitioners that we start to understand some of those things. The general outline, we'll learn the definitions and guiding assumptions about race, racism, and cultural competence because I believe that they're all connected. I also will give you access to this presentation because we will not get through all 98 slides. All right? And understand the conscious and unconscious mores of our culture and extend the experiences from different people of different racial heritages and explore the costs and benefits of working to end racism through building on cultural strengths. All right? So it's important that we understand this particular concept of discrimination. And as the affirmative action officer, I oftentimes combat this kind of stuff. Right? So these are where we have laws. If someone gets sexually harassed, they go to, the HR department, they file a complaint if someone needs an accommodation. I mean, there are all these laws around that kind of stuff. And so what the government has said is that it examines discrimination, and it comes in two forms. There is harassment, and then there is retaliation. And harassment can come along racial lines, gender lines, religious lines, age, and disability. All right? So that's just a basic framework around the discrimination and and other stuff. So this is me talking.
Prejudice and discrimination.
So I want to, before we can get to this cultural competence stuff, we got to go back to preschool. Right? And get some basic foundations about how we talk to each other and why we talk to each other the way that we do. All right? So first of all, what is the word bigotry? What does bigotry mean? What is bigotry?
Opinion,
It's what?